and try to make it happen.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are making cinnamon rolls. That's right, I'm doing keto. I'm also having me some doggone cinnamon rolls, okay? These are the freaking delicious. It's crazy because I made them before and my husband's like, what's in those? I'm like, do you really want to know? Do you really want to know? And he's like, yeah, tell me. I told him, oh, there's mozzarella cheese. He was like, what the heck are you talking about? That was dough. How did you make it? Didn't taste like cheese. I was like, I know, right? The base of this recipe is fathead dough. And if you've never heard of a fathead dough, go ahead and look it up. Google it, baby. Fathead dough is so freaking versatile. I don't know who created it, but they are a freaking genius. If you miss bread, this literally mimics a cinnamon roll. It doesn't have like an aftertaste. I did bump up the sugar in some parts and like change the sugar up in the original recipe just to make it my own, because I feel like it did need to be a little bit sweeter, and the kind of sugar you use kind of changes the recipe. I highly, highly, highly recommend using the brown sugar swerve because it just does something. I've tried just regular granulated swerve. I've tried powdered swerve. The brown sugar, using that for the batter and the filling. Enough of my blabbing. Let's get into the recipe. All right, so we're gonna start off with some mozzarella cheese and some cream cheese. We're gonna pop that in the microwave for 30-second intervals until it is a creamy, smooth consistency. So here we're almost there, but not quite, not quite. That's the consistency you're looking for, okay? Not too thick, not too thin, just right. Now we're gonna set that aside and grab our almond flour. I'm also gonna grab this sifter, which is a lifesaver because it gets all the clumps out of your almond flour, which is very important when you're baking something. I cannot stress this enough. Get you a sifter. It will change your entire life. Also, I don't know why I'm using two bowls. Like, I really could have just used the same bowl, but we're not going to talk about that. We're just going to keep on moving. I'm just going to push all this flour through the sifter and then shake out the rest. Once all the almond flour is sifted, we're going to add in our cheesy mixture. But again, if you use one bowl, then it's already combined and you just got to mix it together. You see what I'm saying? Just use one bowl. Don't be like guac. Don't be like me. Don't be extra. Next, we're going to add in xanthan gum, and this is a thickening agent. Make sure you spread it all around because it tends to clump together. Then we're going to add in some baking powder, and then we're going to combine those with the hand mixer. One thing I did notice when I was using the hand mixer is that it did get really, really doughy and clumpy, but it wasn't too much of an issue, so I just ended up pulling off the excess quote-unquote dough as soon as I was done mixing. Next, we're going to grab the brown sugar swerve, which I think is the star of the show. So I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons. Do not worry, this recipe will be linked down below. I am a strong believer in giving credit where credit is due. I didn't create this recipe. I did modify it to make my own, but you see what I'm saying. Go check it out. All right, so now that that is combined, I noticed my dough was getting a little stiff. So I moved it back to this microwave safe bowl. You see what I'm doing? You see how I wasted my time? And I popped it back to the microwave for about 30 seconds so that it could soften back up and that we could continue to get our lives together. So next I'm going to add in this egg that has already been scrambled, stirred, shaken. I don't know. It's a mixed up egg. We're going to add it to the batter. Then we're going to add in our vanilla extract, and then we're going to stir it all up. And then after the stirring, ultimately you're going to dig your phalanges in there and get them dirty, because these are the best kitchen tools you can possibly have. So get on in there, mix it up, live your best life. Once that's well combined, you want to lay out either parchment paper or one of these silicone mats and flatten out your dough as much as possible. Now you're going to also get parchment paper to put on top, because this dough is so super sticky. It sticks to your hand a lot. It's not like regular dough, so you have to treat it as such, and that is with care. And now that I put my parchment paper on top, I'm going to grab my rolling pin and roll it out into my desired thickness, with 3 C's of course. Now the recipe says to make it a square shape or rectangular shape. To be honest, I had no clue how to do that, but I figured out as long as it's my desired thickness, we were good to go. Alright, so next up I'm going to pull off the parchment paper and go ahead and start loading it up with cinnamon sugar deliciousness. Be gentle, y'all. Just be gentle. Again, the recipe calls for a certain amount of cinnamon, but I love cinnamon, so I just went kind of crazy until I felt like it looked right. Use your own discretion. You're making this, you're eating this. Do what you want to do. There are no rules. Okay, maybe some rules, but you know, you could play with stuff. And then we bring the star of the show back in, some more brown sugar swerve, and go ahead and crumple that all over. Again, the original recipe says something else, but your girl put a little twist on it. I put my thing down, flip it, and reverse it. Hey, okay, I need to stop. Then I'm going in with about a tablespoon of granulated sugar, because that's what the actual recipe calls for. And now it's time to start rolling. Oh, it's not rolling. Right. I need some water, because like I said, this dough is not your friend. You need to keep your fingers wet at all times. So I'm just rolling it tightly, and I'm dipping my fingers in the water as I go, so that the dough acts accordingly. It gets some act right. You just want to make sure that you are rolling this as tightly as possible so that it can actually look like a cinnamon roll. Once that's all rolled up, grab a sharp knife and you can cut this into 12 servings. That will give you 2 net carbs per serving. You can make them bigger or smaller, whatever. Just know that if you're dividing it into 12, each cinnamon roll is going to be 2 net carbs. Then you want to grab a round baking dish, a rectangular baking dish, it doesn't really matter. Line it with parchment paper and then go ahead and place your babies on there. Put a little space between them so they can breathe a little bit. They're not suffocated, but they don't have to be too far apart. We still want them to know that when they're here, they're family. And then every oven is different with temperatures and timing. So I put mine in at 350 for about 15-20 minutes. And while they're in there, we're going to go ahead and start on our topping, which is cream cheese, powdered swerve, heavy cream, vanilla, and we basically just combine those ingredients, give them a little stir, and then we wait for the delicious cinnamon rolls to be ready. Now, stirring works just fine, but I believe the hand mixer works even better, creating a nice, smooth, creamy consistency. And now that's all done, we're going to set it aside because they are ready. Are you ready? Dun, 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 dun. Do they not look so delicious? Oh
Oh my gosh. Let me zoom in for you right quick because I don't think you see it as well as you need to see it. Experience this untragic moment. All right, so after they've cooled down just a scotch, we're gonna go ahead and top them with this delicious cream cheese icing frosting. I don't know what it is, but it's good, okay? And then you want to smooth it into the grooves. Make sure all the cinnamon rolls get some love. Yes, queen. And then you just sit there and marvel at it because you can't believe that this is keto and this is delicious and that you just made it and oh my god. But you also need to add some pecans. I mean, optional, but it's an option you should choose. So I sprinkled a few of those on top and follow that up with a little bit of cinnamon because like I said before, I love cinnamon. But these last two steps are optional. Don't be suspicious. 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 Okay, so you know we have to plate these up. So I can show you the texture, the consistency, the deliciousness. Well, I can't show you the deliciousness, but at least you can look at it, okay? Tell me those don't look like cinnamon rolls. I'll wait. They're brown, they're delicious, they're warm, and you best believe I'm going to cut these open and show you what they look like on the inside. But let me get you all up in there so you can just see what they look like. So here we go. You see that? Do you see that? Oh, the layers, Duke, the layers. You guys need to make this. I don't know what you're doing with your life if you haven't, because this is part of a complete breakfast, okay?
I hope you enjoyed this recipe. If you do happen to make this, please post it to your Instagram story and I will repost it to mine. If you're public, of course, because, you know, otherwise I can't do it. And remember, my Instagram is amber.does.keto. I will never get used to people actually making the things that I make or asking me questions about the things that I do. Like, I'm just a regular person. I'm still learning as I go. I'm not like some keto coach, keto, I don't know. Be sure to give this a thumbs up if you like these type of videos. Be sure to give this a thumbs up if you watch this whole video, because this is not easy to do, especially not with a baby, okay? And then after you thumbs up that video, if you're not subscribed, you need to go ahead and do that because I don't know what you waiting for. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.